Sunny Sunday. Yeah. Thornybush Private Nature Reserve. We could hear them, we just couldn't see them, and we tried and tried again, so now we're trying yet again. And I'm hoping they would have moved on. Maybe they're back where we had elephants at this time you were on camera, Aaron. Down here's a little waterhole. The sand. Waterhole, dam, thingy, body of water. Aaron is on camera, Becky is in final control, and my name is Mark. Mark with a C. Should you wish to know, should it be of any consequence? Necessary to ride all the way to the fence line to see if these elephants have moved north. Otherwise they could have gone west. They couldn't have gone very much further south, and they certainly couldn't have gone anywhere east. Although having said that, we've seen how they climb over the fence, but I don't think they would have done that in the east. Why I don't think that, I don't know. But there's no real reason why they wouldn't if they wanted to. Hello, Franklin. And a wildebeest. Must have just been drinking. Strange sort of habitat to have a wildebeest. Wildebeest. Tends to mostly only find them in open plains. Hello, Mr. Canoe. Yes. What you must carry on walking. Keep on walking, Johnny Walker. of our buffalo must head back to see where this herd of elephants are from. A new viewer and you're watching us for the first time today, I'd love to welcome you to our live drive. I've been a little bit quiet, been listening to the other radio. At the start of the drive there's often quite a lot of activity. There's been a lot of cars going in and out of that little road. Mostly our track to the last one. That's where the elephants were. Way up that little road, between that road and the road coming in from the gate. Well, if you are new to Wild Earth, new to our live drives, I'd like to welcome you. Special day today, Father's Day, all those fathers out there. Hope we can find something special. Apart from the fact that there's stuff inside the lens. But yes, go with a quick light just in case it makes a difference. Special things about driving around this piece of Africa. Hang on, you see, as I start talking the radio goes and I've got to listen. The wonderful thing about the live broadcast is that we're able to interact with you, the viewer, no matter where you are in the world. And you're able to send in questions to us that I can answer. You send them into drive questions at wildearth.tv. I get them via the radio from Becky. Hello, Paula. Paula, please, big push. Oh, yes, from Yala. Yala and some in Paula. So we've got Paula and Yala. Hello, girls. Okay, let's see who is first up on the question lineup this afternoon. Request lines are now Canada. Hello, David. This is Angus David in Canada. One of these questions that I find very difficult to answer. David wants me to describe the best show of strength and intelligence by an elephant that I have observed. I find the questions, what is the best that you've seen, best or those sort of things, to try and think of something out of 50 years of looking at wildlife, it's very difficult for me to come up with one single answer for you. And so I could probably think of some examples. I mean, obviously with elephant breaking trees, simple as that, just pushing trees over. In terms of intelligence, I mean, I haven't really seen elephant displaying any strength other than when they're pushing trees over or shaking a baobab so that the baobab fruits fall off. Shaking the big giant palm trees in the Salou so that the palm fruits fall off. But that's not really strength. There's a lot of skill involved in that. Intelligence, I think it's every single day that I see elephants, I see some sort of sign, something that hints at intelligence. I don't know, David, it's a hard one. I'd have to think about it. I'd have to give it consideration. Off the top of my head, it's very difficult to sift through 50 years of seeing, okay, maybe not 50, 48 then. 48 years of seeing elephants and trying to sift through all of that for something to come to the surface that I could think about. Maybe I'll think about it and not. I know you do watch quite often, so maybe just out of the blue something will occur to me, and then suddenly I'll blurt it out. But it's a lovely question, but it does offer food for thought. But it's not something that I can answer immediately because, as I say, a lifetime of living with these animals. See, to me, they're not animals; they're just people in elephant bodies. I'd say it'd be maybe easier to try and think of the moments where I've seen sheer stupidity out of an elephant. Yes, I'm an elephant in a person's body, Becky. Elephants are people in elephant bodies. You know what I mean. But it's more like making a noise. Gee. Wow. Oh, why that radio is so bad? Connections on the antenna. So where are we looking now? That little boy.
I'll just stand away.
That little
one in the bush.
That little male impala there. He was born this last summer season. You can see his horns are still only about 6 months old. Just about as long as his ears, not quite. But let's move on, because they're all moving away from us into the bush, and it's not really a good show. We'll see you later. Impala and Nyala. Impala Nyala. Mixed species feeding. It's like I get asked the question, what's the most exciting thing you've seen, or what's the best thing you've seen, or what's your best moment, or what... It's not that I don't want to answer, it's just very difficult to try and... Because as soon as I think of one thing, I think of another, and... Well, it's just... a little difficult to think on anything in particular. GoPro's though. I've had something else that's not working. They went away and came back. The same problem, which means that then there's a cable issue or something. I don't know these things. I'm not a camera technical person. Brake track. Long-fin snake track. Must have been a sand snake maybe. A grass snake. One of the ground-dwelling snakes. Very narrow. Not very deep serpentine motion, but very gentle. Which means it was a snake moving relatively slowly and casually without any stress crossing the road. Funny, when most snake tracks, 90% of the tracks that you see from snakes straight across the road, perpendicular to the road, which I suppose stands to reason. A snake doesn't want to dilly-dally on a road like this. Look at the likes of snake eagles and other eagles and goshawks and, well, raptors in general flying around. They'd be an easy target. So far I'm not seeing any sign of these elephants, which means they're still stuck in this forest to our left. Somewhere in there. Give me that thing, please. It's going to drive me crazy. Okay. I guess then we have no choice but to go and explore other areas, check what's going on the radio with the rest of the world. I see some zebra up ahead. Well, a plain zebra, more impala. And if my zebra wasn't so broken, if I was a little bit more fluent in zebra, I might be able to find out where these elephants went. And I don't think the understanding of English yes, but I don't know what I'm saying, Becky. not like I could do a zebra impression and actually ask where the elephants, and they're going to answer me. There's our little... Oh, look, there's a giraffe with a baby. Hello, horses. See, she's ignoring me. I think she thinks that's sort of the zebra equivalent of a wolf whistle. Shaking her head. Turned her back on me. Story of my life. Okay, let's just go a little bit forward. I want to go to that other zebra. I think that might be the... That might be the stallion up there with the giraffe and her calf. Lots of impala. Impala very well spread out all over the place. Hello, Mr. Stallion and Suzuki Stallion. The big male of this particular little herd. Little bird are oxpeckers. Yes, red-billed oxpeckers. Pardon?
Oxpeckers.
Oxpeckers.
You're confused, eh? Zebra.
Okay, yes, so they're zebra pickers today. Peckers. Zebra peckers. Look at this little giraffe.
Zebra or giraffe?
Well, we want giraffe to come past zebra so we get them in one shot. Giraffe. Cue giraffe right stage. Yoo-hoo. Cue giraffe right stage. Come on.
Come on, into frame.
Into frame. Move. Mother giraffe is not very interested. Here she comes, the little girl. And here comes mom. Oh no, it's not mom, it's big boy. See, this is the little female zebra that hangs around with the zebra. Did I say zebra? Little giraffe that hangs around with the zebra. And she's got a big male interested. She's a little bit young for him. Zebra was supposed to stay there. That's funny, I thought he was mom, but he obviously is not. He's an old man. Maybe his dad. However, I don't think so. And he's making a nuisance of himself. And little girl giraffe is trying to seek solace from the zebra. And the zebra want nothing. They want nothing to do with it. You are a little bit big, old man. Hello, Dolly in Ontario. Dolly's saying she's seen videos of animals jumping in front of vehicles. Has this ever happened to me, and if so, what would I do? Well, Dolly, generally we drive at a fairly slow speed in the game reserve, so should it ever happen that animals do jump in front of us, we don't really do anything. We just slow down and we let them cross the road. There's that other zebra now. Get a good look at her. Quite now because the foal's in the way. But you know, I mean, outside of the reserve, Dolly, yes, it happens all the time. I mean, you just have to drive between two cities and you see the roadkill. It happens. I mean, obviously, there are a lot of small animals, just as you might get in Canada or in the States or anywhere else in the world for that matter, where cars drive fast and animals come onto the road and they get hit by the cars. We do have a very big problem in the Kruger National Park with people who speed and they're not supposed to speed, and they do, and they hit animals, and it's very, very sad to see kinds of animals that do get hit by cars in the Kruger National Park because people don't obey the rules, because people will just be people. There's always going to be some human that wants to do things differently. But personally, I have, unfortunately, maybe about it, I had birds fly into my car. Other fortunate thing is I drive a very old Land Rover that doesn't go very fast. So, knock on wood, touch wood, it shouldn't happen to me. And of course, driving around here with the game drive vehicles, it shouldn't happen because we're driving slow enough. There's a quintessential African scene: zebra, giraffe,
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
and impala through the giraffe's legs. Possible, perhaps, that this young female giraffe is coming into estrus for the first time. And maybe that's why this big bull is interested in her. I'd say she's probably a bit too young. He's not feeding, he's not even chewing the cud, he's just single-mindedly following her like a puppy dog. And he's not going to. I thought he was about to test her. He looks like he wants to. In fact, now he's doing it behind the termite line. That might be an interesting process to watch. I don't mean the mating, I mean the testing of her estrus status. She's just pretending to eat. But what I do, also the other thing is the animals at night, and it happens also all over the world. There's all sorts of animals. You know, the good old deer in headlight type of syndrome, where an animal steps into the road and is blinded by the lights of a car. And what humans don't realize is that all that animal sees is a tunnel of white light. It doesn't see, it might as well be the darkness that is on the edges of the light, might as well be a brick wall, because the animal is not going to go into darkness. It's going to be, all it can do is be mesmerized by the light. And all it really takes is reducing speed and dimming your headlights completely, switching your headlights off down to maybe just park lights. And if you were driving slow enough and it was a decent enough road, animal would see you and get out of the way. But as long as you have lights on, you're going to hit it, animal or bird or whatever it may be. But all it really takes is just not speeding, not driving too fast. Are you going to climb up there, little girl? It's a pretty little giraffe, actually. What are you going to do there on the termite mound? Get away from the big old man. Yes. He's flirting. She's a bit young for him. He's an old giraffe. She's a young, not even sub-adult. And safest place for her, standing behind him. Oh, she's rubbing against him. I need to see that. She's actually rubbing her neck against. Effort. No, I'm serious. But she's rubbing. She's actually. That's not true. Now she stopped. She was actually using his tail. Well, his behind. She was rubbing against him.
Next to the zebra.
Where's that zebra I was looking at earlier? That I was convinced convinced that she must have once had a... There she is, behind the foal. I don't think it's from a collar. I wonder if it's... Yeah, I think that was from a snare. That zebra once had a wire around her neck. That little foal. Yeah, she still wants to stick around with her zebra friends. Now that zebra had a pretty bad cut on its neck. I wonder if they darted it. Cut it off. But it's something I noticed the other day. One zebra that looks like it once had a snare around its neck. And it's now carrying a scar. See, as soon as he makes a move towards us, she moves on. Round and round the mulberry bush. He's a lovely dark colour, this old man, but he is quite old. Bit of battle scarred. we live again now? Maybe we weren't live answering Dolly's question. Dolly, sent Becky another email if we've only just got live again and I didn't get your question about animals on the vehicles. Because then I'll re-answer it. You don't have to re-ask it. I'll just re-answer it. Maybe these elephants sneak down to the river, snuck down to the river. What's it, sneak or snuck? Maybe these elephants managed to tiptoe down to the river without me seeing their tracks. Maybe they all just jumped over the road. Oh, okay, Dolly sent another email saying that I didn't answer the question properly because what she meant was the animals that jump on the vehicle. Does it happen here? I was saying, well, there's one place in Africa that it does happen. I haven't heard of it happening here in South Africa. And that's up in the Serengeti. One place, but it has two names because it spans two countries. Serengeti and the Masai Mara. Across the boundary between the border between Kenya and Tanzania. And there's only really one animal that does it. That is a cheetah. I don't think lion do it, and I don't think leopard do it. And the reason why they do it is because cheetah are diurnal hunters. They hunt on open plains. And in some places in the Serengeti and the Mara, it's very, very flat, no termite mounds for them to stand on to get a vantage over the plains to look for prey, and they use the hood or the roof of these cars. Now the Land Rovers, the vehicles that they use are pop-top Land Rovers or Land Cruisers or minibuses. So they're closed vehicles with a little sunroof that pops up. And it's in those vehicles or on those vehicles that cheetah have learned that it's safe enough to stand on them and look out over the plains to look for something to hunt. Going to take a look down at Almeida Pan and then, I don't know, we'll figure out where to go from there. My elephants aren't coming out of the bush. But I haven't heard of it happening here, Dolly. I've had, back about 17 years ago, back in the 90s, in the Sabi Sand, there was a young female leopard that used to stand up against the vehicle. She put her paws up on the running board that runs sort of just below the door, like as a step to climb in. For those of us with shorter legs. And she was soon discouraged from doing that after one or two people didn't get injured, they just got little scratches on their arms. Just a curious leopard, cats are curious. But I haven't heard of lion or leopard climbing onto vehicles in the Serengeti or the Mara. And I haven't heard of lion, leopard or cheetah climbing onto vehicles here in South Africa. No, it doesn't happen. More impala. Elephant is transmogrified, they're now impala. They used to be elephants this morning. They shapeshifted. Today they appear as impala. Hello, children. y'all. Something. Something there. I can hear something. And there we're looking. That's that way. Okay, I'm gonna move. There. Fine in a bucket. And they're off. Running off into the bush. Not wanting our company today, these Koala. Hello, Dina. Michigan, Dina. Are there any giant tortoises? We'd love to see one feeding. We do have tortoises. We have two species of tortoises. We have the mountain or the leopard tortoise, which gets quite big, by no means giant. And that's not counting the different species of terrapins that we get. And since we're not at the sea, we don't have any turtles. But sorry, Dina, we don't have giant tortoises, because giant tortoises are only found on Seychelles Island and Mauritius and Zanzibar, some of the Indian Ocean islands, Madagascar. That's where the giant tortoises are. And of course, Aldabra. Another one, different archipelagos, and of course, well, Pacific, you get the archipelago of Galapagos, the giant tortoises. One of those strange phenomena that on the island tortoises grew to giant proportions. That was just like a reed warbler, went in there, barred tail. Really barred warbler. But also, this time of the year, sadly, we're not going to see a tortoise. Highly unlikely. There would be tortoises deep tucked into some of these thickets for the dry season, and they're only likely to emerge once the rain comes September, October. So, not much chance of seeing it. Tortoise this time of the year. Hello, you, Canoe. What's up, dude? You can rub on the feet and tell me that this is your territory. Yeah, that's fine. I can live with that. Don't see me rubbing on trees. Okay, yeah. the old boy. The Impala gone away. I'm going to go follow them. What's the Impala? Just down there towards the river. Perhaps we ought to take a look. Stated. Pardon? Okay. Gone. No, I didn't see it. Thank you, Nadav. Nadav in Johannesburg saying that he has seen a cheetah calling a cub standing on a car in the Kruger National Park. Well, once again, closed vehicles, Nadav, closed vehicles. And I guess they're starting to do it in Kruger. Thanks for the info. I didn't know that cheetah was starting to do that in Kruger. Learning from their Serengeti cousins. But Nadav is saying that he has seen a cheetah standing on a car on a particular road called the S28, I think, in Kruger, calling for her cubs. Probably because there was nothing else around for her to stand on. Okay, time to move on. There are a few alarm calls going here. Thornybush shouting, the birds call out, Frankfurt chirping. Harlow were looking this way. Thanks, Nadav, sending us some pictures of cheetah on a car. Thanks for the info. As I say, I haven't seen it, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Now, why are the hardy dogs complaining so good? That's interesting. Of course, they can't see the river, see what it is that's disturbing these birds. Pardon?
That sounds like something, yeah.
Does it? I can't hear anything with this noise in my ear. Thank you, ladies. I love my hat. I love my hat too. I've had this hat now for I think nearly 2 years. But I hardly ever wear it. It's my evening wear hat. But it's Father's Day, I thought it's a special occasion. Wearing it in honor of my father. Okay, well I guess we're going to have a look down at the river. Go and have a look-see. what we can find down there, if anything. The buffalo is down here, we'll see if he's still there. Looking into the sun. That's the babblers over there. Buffalo has gone. Did you hear something, Aaron? On the other side there. Yeah. Take it out lucky. Oh, there, that one on the water. Just get through there. Forward, back. Still a noise down there in the river from something. I haven't seen any tracks of a predator. Over.
See, so this mic, it does sound like there's an animal calling. It's got like an alarm call going off.
What does it sound like?
Like, ow, 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 kind of thing.
Let me listen.
I'm not sure if it's gone now.
I can hear the Aramark babblers. And also these weird talking with this on your head.
Echoes.
This Aramark babbler is just chirping away. Very intense sound. The microphone. Is that what everyone's hearing?
Yeah.
At that kind of volume?
Oh well, I'm switching over the mic now from your lapel to the shotgun mic.
Well, that was just this mic.
No, this one up here.
Yeah. Okay. Just said on the radio one of the other guys coming down here also to look for these elephants. But wait, I'm just gonna listen down. Andrew, come in. How's it for? There's no Conzo coming out of that block that they were in this morning. I've done a big loop around to Almeida Pan and along the fence back to this other pan on the southern side. Southern. Only other thing we can do is take this little track deep into the bush and go and find them. Isn't that a Black Eyed Peas number or is it Red Hot Chili Peppers? Let's do it. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Black Eyed Peas. Not called that. Must be called something else. Yeah. Is that where has that got the words? Let's do it all. No tune whatsoever. Never mind. I don't know that song I'm talking about. I know that song. Yeah. chilly in the shade. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Sabalala. Got a question when you're in? Bonjour, Fabienne. Fabienne in Quebec City. No, Montreal. Quebec. Not Quebec City. Fabienne is asking if brown hyenas have a similar order. How does their call differ to that of spotted hyenas? Can they be distinguished between, can one distinguish between the two just by the call? Yes, they do. Very different call. Fabienne. Click. In fact, they don't have quite the vocabulary that spotted hyena do. Spotted hyena have quite a vocabulary. Brown hyena has almost like a screech, like a blood curdling screech call. Nowhere near any of the calls of the spotted hyena. Spotted hyena have a variety of calls. They have quite a wide range of calls. In fact, they are known to have quite a varied vocabulary, depending what they want the clanmates to know about. And perhaps this has developed an intricate vocalization repertoire in the spotted hyena, is that they are social animals. They live in clans. They need to keep in contact with each other at all times, whereas brown hyena tend to be more solitary than the spotted hyena. But in all my years of living in the bush, never heard of brown hyena. Never. Actually, no, I lied. There was once I thought I heard something, but I couldn't be sure. Since it was only once ever that I heard it, I wasn't sure whether I was listening, hearing things, and then it didn't call again. So I don't really know. Aha. Yeah, on the track. Heading north, south, north. That way, north.
That way.
West. Yes. Which means if we follow this road, yeah, this is all fresh. I was here this morning, and this is where I was listening to. And this, all this dung and these tracks are all fresh. And are you also looking for drones? You know that smaller jelly that heads south from that pan near the Albedos? That old lily, there's some Mkonzo here heading north back towards Berlin, but I'm about 300 meters from the river. Yeah, firm, so they might be on the fence line. Lugo, where are you now? Okay, copy. I'm gonna go back towards that pan. Over there. Road 6. Oh. And there's now sort of crossing the river. What we need to do is stop and listen again. And look carefully when here. Fairly open, pretty good place to stop and listen. I think we need to go further north.
Further north, alright.
Yeah. Hello, Margaret. Question from Margaret regarding baby birds. Right. Radio. Margaret is asking about baby birds. When do baby birds get their feathers? And when do we tell whether that's boys or girls? It depends, Margaret. Depends on the bird. Most small birds are fledged at about 6 weeks, but they might not necessarily have their adult colours. And not all birds, in fact, very, very I want you to know how to. Some birds, the males have different colours to the females. Some birds they don't. Some birds they only have different colours in the breeding season in the summer months, so even if it was winter you wouldn't know the difference. Some birds, like eagles, take 7 years to get their adult colours, so you wouldn't really know whether it's a male or female until they're 7 years old. So it's not really an easy question to answer, Auntie Margaret. I'm not too sure what it's... But... the babies are not different colours, no. The youngsters are all the same. Often it's only really during the mating season that the males develop their special colours and special feathers. Stop and listen again. I don't know. Now we have a Savannah in Savannah, and we've got Ginny in Virginia, but I don't know if we've got a Charlotte in Charlotte. I know we've got Tora in Charlotte. Thanks, Tora. Nice the hat. This is a hat that I wore on one of my last drives at Juma. It was sent to me by someone special, all the way from Australia. Like these elephants. Clap their ears and flew. Away. Loot 2. Yeah, also looking for these elephants. There they are. People and all. Yeah, clover coming out to the span most of our beater plan. Yeah, one of the first clovers just arrived here. Steve, can we join you? Only problem is getting in there to see them. Only one. Now, so far only one in Glove out here at this pan. probably are.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be able to stay very long because there are vehicles converging on us, and I can't really go forward enough that we can get a better view of this little boy. I'm guessing maybe the rest of the well, probably. Yeah, but it's up again. It's going to be live again. I think for most of the elephant drinking it went up. Just the end between us. Yes, I know. We didn't manage to get to the beginning, but I wonder if we've been listening to him all along down there in the river. No, yeah, it's Nice the side lighting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17. still a few bulls here in the riverbed digging for water as the sun goes down. Alright, we're gonna have to go. The other vehicle's coming. And so we have to leave, fortunately. We had an elephant sighting hijacked from us. And we'll head across the river again, go back to where we were, and maybe go a little bit further west, see if we can find the sunset. It would be nice to watch the sunset with them in the river. Getting a bit chilly. So, let's do some questions, because we were offline and some questions came through. Shelly's asking if I've ever seen animals react to music in the bush. I don't really play music in the bush for animals to hear, Shelly, so no, I can't really say that I have noticed whether they react or not. If I listen to music through headphones, earphones, and the animals won't hear it, I can't really disturb the sound of the bush. And I mostly only listen to music when I'm driving. With a little old Land Rover, it takes me forever to get anyway, so I just sit back, enjoy the trip, and listen to some tunes. But I'm not sure they would. I don't know. Maybe they will. I think elephants probably react to music somehow. Suddenly chilly, really chilly. The birds haven't come back to bed yet. Still in the UK, Black Eyed Peas, I've got a feeling, in reference to probably what I was talking about earlier, that's been bugging us. But that's got a feeling tonight's going to be a good night. Yes, Black Eyed Peas, thanks. Really. Oh, humans are crazy sometimes. Safari drone. Is it mostly muscle or is there cartilage there too? I must actually go through the dissection of an elephant and check. But yes, being a nose, I think the septum there's cartilage between the two nostrils, but mostly muscle. Getting really cold. Cheryl in Oregon, USA, how many hats do I have? Oregon, where in Oregon? I spent some time in Oregon, so I spent some time down on the Mackenzie River, some of the pine forest. Near Bend. One of the confluence, I think it was the Blue River and the Mackenzie River. That would have been east of Springfield, where the Simpsons come from. Boston. How many hats do I have? 4 hats. And I've lost more than I have. I've lost one. In 1996, just came back from overseas. In fact, I just returned from Oregon. Because it was when I was in Oregon that I decided that I'd been away from elephants for too long. I was supposed to still be in the States for about 3 more months. And I just couldn't take it anymore. I just had to come home to my elephants. So I changed my tickets, spent all the last bit of money I had to change my tickets. Bought an airplane, Oregon to, well, we had to go from Portland to Chicago, to New York, to Vienna, to Johannesburg. My brother picked me up and we got straight into his car and drove straight down to the bush. Did not pass go, just on select 200. Breathed a big sigh of relief when I got home. And the hat then disappeared. That hat that I took, there's a photograph of me with that hat on, walking barefoot across Brooklyn Bridge. There's that same hat with me standing on the Staten Island ferry with the Twin Towers in the background. That hat disappeared. Hang on, let me turn that noise off. That hat disappeared on me because I was distracted by Melanie, who I met in Cafe the other day, who with her husband run one of the, in fact they run Thornybush Game Lodge. They run the lodge at Thornybush, Melanie and Grant. In those days Melanie was quite distracting because she was single. As it just happens with me and women. Turn that away from me. I want to put something on my head. Aaron, I'm so glad I can entertain you, dude. I'm trying to entertain everybody. Life of heartedness to the whole thing. Life is sort of... So that was that hat. Oh, I've lost my bandana. I had a hat back in the 80s. I had a chewed up by hyenas at a lion kill. Actually, I was talking about, I think it was this morning, I was talking about kills that were sad to see or sad to watch. That was another one of those kills that was really, was hard to watch. 2 baby giraffes. And I'll tell you a story. Remind me one day to tell you the story about the 2 baby giraffes when my hat was eaten by the hyenas. And then there was one of my best hats. Is that Franklin? One of my best hats in 2002 that I lost from the Zambezi River. Pitch darkness of a moonless night. Looks like, oh no, I've lost my lion claw now. And the company of Kubra were actually interested in the story, and they renovated it for him, washed it, reset it. I need some of my hats repressed and properly washed. They developed a sweat band from working in it. But I'm trying to think where my oldest hat came from. Because that was a snowy river, and it was new. I can't even remember. The hat that you see me in every day was a new hat that I got in 2010, I think it was. If you wear a hat every day, they don't last very long. That hat I got from someone in California, I think. Greg lives in California, Greg Luke. Oh, yes, I remember now, it was Christine. My oldest old hat, the Snowy River, comes from Christine, a friend of mine in Austria. And Christine went to Australia, and she took the hat from Australia back to Austria, and then she brought it from Austria to me when she came to visit me. It was around about the time of my transplant. No, it wasn't. It was after my transplant. She brought it to me when I was living in East Africa. She came to visit me in Tanzania. And she brought the hat with her. So she flew from Australia to Austria, and then she flew from Austria to East Africa with it. And that's like my work hat. That's the hat that I use for working on Land Rovers and things. It's a very old hat. All my hats have great sentimental value. So that's my old Snowy, and then there's Uncle Rob's hat, which is a cattleman. And then there's my hat that you see me in every day. That's my other Snowy River. That's the Greg hat. And this one is the Jam hat. And this one is model. This is called a Bosch. It's not the Snowy River. It's a little bit more curved than the Snowy River. I prefer the style and the Snowy River style to the cattleman style. It's got too much of a flat brim. It's too much like the Mormon. Not that there's anything wrong with Dr. Mormon. I like the little curls. Type of grass, very tall river grass. And next question, please. there's a vehicle coming. So bye bye everybody. See you tomorrow morning 6. Petrol.